What's the meaning of life? You've probably heard a dozen answers. And if you're honest, none of them really stick. Maybe we're an evolutionary accident. Maybe you should make your own meaning. Enjoy the ride. Serve others. Find your passion. These sound reasonable until you realize they're survival strategies, not explanations. Modern culture offers a strange deal. The universe is meaningless, so you must make your own meaning. But that's a contradiction. You can't build meaning on a foundation of meaninglessness. It's saying the house has no floor, so build yourself a floor. What if the problem isn't that there's no map? What if you're just reading it upside down? What if the universe isn't meaningless? You've just forgotten how to read the signs. The question beneath the question isn't, what should I do with my time? It's deeper. Am I supposed to be here? Is this going anywhere? Or am I just noise in an indifferent void? What if there's an answer that doesn't just tell you to cope, but explains why you're here? An answer where your life isn't random, but part of something with direction and purpose? For most of human history, the question, what is the meaning of life, would have seemed odd. You didn't ask it because you already knew. It was woven into everything, your work, your community, your place in the cosmos. Meaning wasn't a problem to solve. It was the ground beneath your feet. Then modernity arrived. We pulled thread after thread, church authority, cosmic hierarchies, divine purpose. And we were right to question, to challenge, to dismantle what didn't hold up. But in tearing away the dogma and control, we didn't notice we were also pulling out the framework that held meaning in place. We didn't disprove meaning. We threw out the map, the instructions, the cosmic orientation, and now we stand in a universe that feels like meaningless static. Not because there's no signal, not because nothing matters, but because we're trying to read it upside down. What if there's a way to have clarity without dogma? Martinus doesn't ask you to believe. He offers a map, not a religion, not a philosophy, but a cosmology, a description of the actual territory, where consciousness is, where it came from, where it's going, and why. And this isn't speculation or philosophy. Martinus claimed direct vision, what he called cosmic consciousness. He saw the structure, the purpose, the spiral of evolution, and he saw the fundamental mechanism driving it all, contrast. Light needs dark. Summer needs winter. Joy needs sorrow. Not opposites at war, but partners in the curriculum. He wrote it for 50 years. Martinus wrote, "Through direct vision, I experienced this knowledge in such pure form that it fully justified the divine words. Behold, all is very good." This is the direct answer to the question, what is truth? I felt it my duty to make this knowledge available to the public. Not a prophet, not a guru, a cartographer, and the map he drew changes everything. So what does the map show? Here's the first thing. Your life isn't random. You're not here by accident. According to Martinus, existence is a school, and the curriculum is learning to love unconditionally. But you can't learn without contrast. You can't know warmth without having felt cold. You can't know safety without having known danger. You can't know love without having experienced loss. Martinus wrote, "Without the winter principle, no summer. Without darkness, no knowledge of light. Without contrast, no experience of life. Winter isn't a mistake. It's what makes summer possible." Martinus calls them the unpleasant good and the pleasant good. Both are necessary. This doesn't mean suffering is pleasant, but a sufficiently developed consciousness sees it as essential. Not punishment. Not meaningless. Essential. The school's purpose? To transform you from what Martinus calls a human animal, driven by instinct, ego, and survival, into a real human, driven by wisdom, love, and understanding. And this isn't a metaphor. Martinus describes it as an organic process, as real as puberty, as inevitable as a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. Right now, humanity is in the middle of this transformation. The journey is structured. Martinus maps it as a spiral, each cycle bringing you closer to the center where you finally see clearly all is very good. Not because suffering doesn't exist, but because you understand its purpose. And the journey has a destination. Martinus calls it the Great Birth, the moment when you graduate from the school and step into something beyond human comprehension. The Great Birth isn't a metaphor. It's a specific developmental stage, like learning to walk or speak, but on a cosmic scale. It's when your spiritual senses fully awaken. You don't just believe in your immortality anymore. You perceive it. You don't just think you're connected to all life. You feel it directly, as an unshakable fact. When you touch a hot stove, pain isn't punishment, it's information. It teaches you. The same principle, Martinus says, governs consciousness itself. Ignorance leads us to act wrongly, but those wrong actions create suffering. And suffering reveals the mistake. With enough experience of the consequences, you become incapable of repeating the error. Pain isn't the enemy, it's the curriculum. This happens across lifetimes. Through countless incarnations, you make mistakes, feel their weight, and learn. Gradually, you become an expert in what Martinus calls the art of living the perfect life. Not through willpower or moral striving, but through lived experience. You can't harm others anymore. Not because you're suppressing the urge, but because you've outgrown the capacity. At the Great Birth, your latent spiritual faculties become as functional as your physical senses. You sense spiritually as easily as you now sense physically. You experience yourself as one with all living beings. The prodigal son, in Martinus's words, returns to the Father. The shadows of sorrow, sickness, and suffering dissolve. Love's all-radiant victory becomes a fact, and lasting peace on earth becomes possible. This is what Martinus calls cosmic consciousness. From that vantage point, you see existence in its highest form. The map you've been reading upside down finally turns right side up. Your understanding becomes divine, expressible only as all is very good. You see from God's own viewpoint. Everything, even the suffering you endured, makes sense as part of the whole. You are not an accident, not a mistake. You are the goal of the divine world plan, the beings of light, the destination. We're not here by chance. We are the purpose, the end point, the reason existence unfolds as it does. So, here's the choice. One worldview says you're a cosmic accident, a brief flicker of consciousness in a cold, dying universe. Your suffering is random. Your joy is random. And the only rational response is to distract yourself until the lights go out. The other worldview says you're a consciousness on an evolutionary journey. Everything you experience, every loss, every breakthrough, every moment that broke you open, is part of a curriculum designed to transform you from a frightened ego into a being of wisdom and love. And you don't have to believe Martinus. You don't have to believe any of this. But ask yourself, which story makes you more capable of facing what's in front of you? Because here's what Martinus understood. The meaning of life isn't something you invent to feel better. It's something you discover by paying attention to what life is actually doing to you. How it's shaping you, teaching you, breaking down what doesn't serve anymore. If you've ever felt like your experiences are trying to teach you something, like there's a pattern beneath the chaos, a direction beneath the pain, maybe that's not wishful thinking. Maybe that's the curriculum revealing itself. You're not lost. You're reading the map correctly now. You're in winter. And winter is not a mistake. It's what makes you capable of understanding summer. It's the contrast that teaches, the darkness that shows you what light means. And according to Martinus, some of us are already catching glimpses, what he called the precursor symptoms of the Great Birth. Moments of expanded consciousness. Flashes of understanding that we're part of something vast and purposeful. These aren't illusions. They're previews. The meaning of life isn't out there waiting to be found. It's in here, in the work of becoming who you're capable of being. You are not an accident. You are the goal.